All right, welcome to the first panel for this Imbuto Youth Forum. My name is Sandrine Umutoni, as Tony just mentioned, and it is my great honor today to be introducing the panelists who will be sharing with us very inspirational stories and experiences that I hope will all leave here with something important that we can apply to our lives. So the very first panelist I'm going to introduce is Vera Eglon. Mrs. Vera Eggleston serves in research and development at Bloomberg Philanthropies, and her work focuses on researching and developing projects, ensuring human settlement and sustainable livelihoods. Mrs. Eggleston was a commissioner of social development for the city of New York, and as such was responsible for expansive service portfolio dealing with local policy, budgets, and workforce. Mrs. Eggleston also served as director of New York City Health and Hospital Corporation. She has over 30 years working with underserved populations and over 15 years serving in large municipal government agencies. Welcome, Mrs. Eggleston.
Shall I use this one or this one? When you are of my age, systems become complicated, because we are very simple as you grow older. I'm honored, Madam First Lady, thank you so much. Young people, thank you so much. All ministers who I'm sure I've met during my travels back and forth to Rwanda. I'd like to believe Rwanda to be my second home, so I ask you to embrace that for me. I thank you for having me. I've traveled some 28 hours, so if I get a little blurred along the way, please forgive me. See how old people are? We start making excuses immediately because we're too old, because we can't bend. You'll have that day one day, okay? I want to frame the remarks that I'll make, and I want to make them briefly, but I want to frame them in 3 metaphors. And I ask that you embrace it or hold maybe 1 or 2, but it will encompass the thoughts that I have today. The boundaries of your community will be the boundaries of your world. Meaning that if you only know your community and it's limited, then your world will be limited. That will be your point of entry and your point of exit, and there will be no more for you. Who, what, where are the key pieces. Who you are, what you want, and where you're going. If you called me on the phone and you said I'm lost and I need to get to Kigali, and I asked you, where are you? And you couldn't answer where you are, then there's no way I can give you directions to tell you how to arrive in Kigali. And the last one. If you are not at the table, you are on the menu. How much time do I have? I can go? Okay. This is uncomfortable for me. Yeah. Can I have the hand one, young man? Thank you. Yes, because I can't be, the boundaries of your community becomes the boundaries of your world. So if I limit myself to this position, then what I say will be limited. I am Verna Eggleston. My birth record reads, baby girl, Negro. Parents, colored. My country calls me African American, sometimes. The new identifier is person of color, which reminds me of colored person. I was a 50s baby, so oftentimes they refer to us in a word that rap artists now use to refer to each other. It was for me to embrace who I am. And I defined who I am by where I came from. just this year, I found out who my people were. So I lived 50 plus years not really knowing who I was. I did a DNA test and found out my people were taken from Cameroon and traveled to Sierra Leone and made passageway through Congo, passed by Rwanda, put back on the boat, and taken to Charleston to pick cotton, to grow rice, to work fields. The rhythm that I heard you clap earlier, where I come from, we call that the Gullah rhythm, so I know we're connected. Knowing all of those things, hearing all those identifiers, at the end of the day, I am a woman who has visions of making things different, connected to a world that's larger than me, that has a table set for me. And if I arrive at the table and I use my first gender identifying position or inclination to clear the table or serve, then I'll never have an opportunity to eat. We're oftentimes invited to tables to speak, to bring our wisdom, to bring our knowledge, and our first inclination is to apologize for being invited. We were invited to the table because we knew something. We were invited to the table because we have something to bring. And we were invited to the table not just because they wanted us to bring a plate or a dish or something to eat. They wanted our wisdom. You must define yourself, Rwanda, because there's a universe. There is a global financial technology development world right now sitting in session somewhere trying to define who Rwanda is. The world is watching you, Rwanda. The world is watching you because of your success. The world is watching you because of your brilliance. The world is watching you because you've matched numbers that no other country has matched before. The tricky part about being successful is that many want to come to claim your success. So everybody wants to come to Rwanda. Everybody wants to come to Rwanda, and they say they want to come to Rwanda because we want to go to Rwanda because we want to help. We want to go to Rwanda because we want to help the people in Rwanda to do stuff. We want to go to Rwanda because we want to help Rwandese fix Rwanda. But Rwanda's already had a success, so why are you coming? So knowing that you've had the success, Rwanda, it's Rwanda's time now to go out into the globe, into the world, take its success, show its success, and make folks pay the price for your brilliance without being sold. Be invited, accept the invitation, and honor the fact that you are there because you're supposed to be there. My folks, we still fixing stuff. We still fixing stuff in my country amongst my people because we have to wait 50 and 70 and 80 and 90 years to define who we are while other folks are still defining us. The difference between you and I is you know where you came from. You were born into who you are. You have your language. You were allowed to keep it and learn others. I'm learning all those things now. I've had some success, but there's more for me to have. The one thing I leave you with today, young people, technology, connectivity, all brilliant, all good. It's a tool to gather more information more rapidly, to be much more sufficient in what you do. The primary concern that I have for your generation is in the technology, will you lose the empathy? We can't express how we feel in an Instagram. I can't tell you how I want to approach something really by texting you briefly. You can't embrace sorrow, sadness, building, understanding, ideas, ideology through an email. It's a tool to gather more information, but I encourage you to be empathetic so that you can find new placement in this world that you are going to build. And I happen to be one of those baby boomers, and we have issues, and there's 70 million of us back in the States. And your responsibility is going to be to find a way first for us, and then find a way next for yourselves, and then at the same time, build something for your future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for these very inspirational words, Mrs. Eggleston. The next person I'm going to introduce on the panel is sitting at the far right, Dieudonne Sagashya. Didier is a genocide survivor who is currently serving as the Deputy Director General in the Department of Land and Mapping in the Rwanda Natural Resources Authority. Prior to this position, Didier was the Deputy Director General of the National Land Center, and he served on that position for 4 years. Part of the duties that Didier have to perform nowadays include creating land reforms that are related to land registration and the planning of national land use. Didier, welcome.
Thank you, Sandrine. Good afternoon. As she mentioned, I'm now transpiring to be a young or being an adult. I'm becoming 35 this year, so I'm not sure if I'm still young among the youth, but I will keep being young. So as she mentioned, survived the genocide with my brother, 2 brothers. I lost my mom, my sister, my brothers. But I had an opportunity to go to school after genocide, which was important. After finishing my secondary school in minor seminary, I used to think I would become a priest. That was my dream. I have Père Elise here, he knows me, and I used to think I would become a priest. Now here I am in the land. I did my degree at KIST. I'm glad Professor Wakawambi is here. I always call him professor, never minister, because he's still my professor. My first responsibility as a young graduate was at the city of Kigali. My job was to measure potholes. Ibibumbe bya bisate byo mu muhanda. So I used to march from airport to Nyarugenge, measuring potholes and making tender documents to repair them. So that was my first job. And I became involved in a new department which was created, Department of General Inspection, and I became a director at the age of 25, and I was called Director Umwana, the young director. That's how they used to call me. But I got an opportunity to go to study a master's in the UK and Scotland. And when I came back, I was asked by the then Minister of States of Lands to come and start in the National Land Center. So we started the National Land Center, and I became the Deputy Director General of the Land Center. I was among the top youngest leaders in the country, so that I was humbled for that. So, but I want to share with you some of the achievements we have done with my colleagues as a civil servant, and I think that's what will probably inspire others. During the last 7 years, by the way, before I go far, how many of you have read the Vision 2020? Okay, very good. How many have read the EDPRS 2? Oh, very good. So those who have not read them, please do read the executive summary at least. Okay? Because those documents involve or can tell you our vision, where we want to be. The First Lady mentioned that in her opening remarks, becoming a middle-income country by the year 2020. So in our job, we managed to demarcate all lands in Rwanda. I can inform you that Rwanda is a country of 10.6 million parcels, almost the same number as the number of people we have in the country. So last census, we were shown that we are 10.5. So now we have 10.6 million parcels. And we have issued around 8.7 million titles within the last 3 years. So looking at that, we have also created the modern electronic land registry in the world. This year, the World Bank Doing Business report ranked Rwanda as number 15 in the world and number 1 in Africa in terms of registering property. And we're trying to embrace the technology, trying to be accountable. Accountability is something very important, and transparency is also important. In our field of land, we need to also fight corruption. So we need to put up systems that help people get services without going behind, which is still a challenge for us. But the journey, I think, will reach it there. As Sandrine mentioned, we also managed to create our national land use plan, a first of its kind, and the only one in Africa. In the last 3 weeks, we launched a web portal where you can check what is the land use of your area. So those were few of the achievements as a civil servant. But what I want to leave you with is how did we manage to get to that? I think the first thing is umuhate, perseverance, and also passion to stick to your vision, and also try, as was mentioned, try to think big. I'm also a passionate of time management. So we have the same time. Time management, you know, we have 24 hours, every one of us has 24 hours. The president, the first lady, myself, yourself, we all have 24 hours. But how do you manage your time? That's the most important. So to manage your time, you have the same time as a Pope, as Obama. So we need to, as young people, to know how to manage our time. And also, we need to think out of the box. Sometimes thinking out of the box is a theory, but take it as finding solutions rather than finding problems. You are given a task, instead of finding a solution for that task, you try to find excuses and problems in the task. But there is also one challenging thing with us young. We don't read. There is a say, nimba ushaka guhisha ikintu umunyarwanda gishyire muri raporo. If you want to hide something to a Rwandese, put it in the report, because he won't read it. We need to change that. People will have been challenging some of us that, yes, this is in the report page that, then we have not seen it. So we have to read, and also Google it. If you don't find it, if you don't know anything, just Google it. Go to Google and Google it. And you'll know it. You also have to try something. You need to start somewhere. Try and error. Accept to fail and adjust. Because if you see the first land that we demarcated in Rwanda, it was horrible. So many mistakes. But we kept improving. We kept trying to see how we can make it better. But also, as a leader of any institution, you need to be informed. So you need also to know your people, your colleague, your staff. You need to know about their lives. You need to encourage them. All of us, we need a personal development plan. Where do you what is your current position now? What are your skills? What are your valuable skills, and how do you want to be in the next future? We need to be especially read, especially know techniques, theories, but also Twitter has made everything easier. But if I ask people here who follows others on Twitter, how do you choose your people you follow? It's also something that can help you to, if you choose to follow only your friends, how will you know about the world? So you need to choose strategically who to follow on Twitter, and also keep following up on their tweets if necessary. So I want to also tell you that social life is very important. I'm a guitar player. If we bring instrument here, I will be starting making new music, and you ask, is that the director general? No, it's me. You have also to have your social life. Go out, play music. Also, be in itorero, and you have to ukamenya no kwivuga. Ndi ntwaza rugarukira mu rugamba rwahinanye. And you should also be able to ukamenya gusakuza. Keep you with our Rwandan culture, and that will sometimes take the pressure out of you, because if you are really pressurized, you need to sometimes relax. I want to leave you with 3 things. I have, I'll call it 3 F's. If you want to open your mouth before you speak anything, or before you do an argument, have the 3 F's ready. The facts, the figures, and the forecast. You need to have facts of what you are going to talk about, supported with figures, and where you want those figures and those facts to take you. And I think with those words, you can be able to develop yourself also, but be able to express yourself with conviction. There is a word that I learned, introspection. That's a word that I learned from Tessie. Where is Tessie in the room? So introspection, I didn't even know about introspection. I Google it. So here I am. So now that you have heard about me, what about you? Especially young civil servant. What keeps you to go to work every day? Do you have a vision? Do you know what you're contributing to? Thank you, moderator.
Thank you very much, Didier, for these words. The last person I'm going to introduce, last but not least, Clément Uwajeneza, who was on this panel, represent the private sector. So Clement is the founder of Access. He founded Access in 2006. And Access is an IT company that has the mission to help Rwandan small and medium companies access affordable and relevant management softwares. Access achieved profitability by expanding into web and mobile-based application development for both government and non-governmental organizations. In 2010, RDB recognized Access as the best IT firm in small-medium enterprise categories. In addition to being the founder of Access, Clement is also the co-founder and board member of the Private Sector Federation ICT Chamber. He's also the co-founder and chairman of Rwanda Software Developers Association. In this year, actually, 2014, Clement was awarded the Outstanding Young Rwandan Entrepreneur during the Africa Awards for Entrepreneurship. And nowadays, Clement is the CEO of Rwanda Online Platform Limited. Clement, welcome.
Good afternoon. I'll want to share my my first 10 months of business when I started Access in 2006, and really show how it's changed my perception of being an entrepreneur and having social responsibility while developing your business. So 2006, I wanted to start my business. I just finished university, and I just pictured myself as an entrepreneur. But the picture I had was, I wake up in the morning, go in a cool office somewhere on a high floor in a building, and I have nice furniture, I have employees. And that really was the picture I had of myself as a business people, and that's what I wanted somehow to achieve as a business person. So I started the first day, and the first process was to go and open my business. At that time, it wasn't as easy as it is today. Not 3 days, but rather 2 to 1 month. And there was a very complex process to go through, a notary who would sign on your business documents, etc., etc. So I go through the whole process. I wanted really to do everything by myself and get in front of this notary. And when, he recognized me because he knew my parents, and then he looks at me and says, but Clement, both of your parents are doctors, and you are going mu bucuruzi. Wagiye ukiga ukarangiza. He assumed I hadn't gone to school. So, genda wagiye ukiga ukarangiza ukaba nk'ababyeyi bawe. Then that was the first issue really as a business person I faced. It was like, what, I'm going to do ICT business, and there is already an issue of credibility. How am I going to prove that I can, provide something and be credible doing it? But then I moved on. I had still my picture, nice suit, seated in a nice office and with employees. So I moved forward and started my business. I got my first contract and then my second contract in the first 2 months. Managed to get some money very quickly. Had imagined the business plan. So I can earn a contract, do it by myself, and deliver, get paid. So that means I'm going to hire 2 people. I will work on one thing, everyone will work on another contract, and we will grow like that. Like one other person and another and another. I'm going to become a millionaire very quickly, So then that money I had with the amount of money I had earned, I went to get a nice office like I had always dreamed to. 6th-floor Teledis building. It was very nice in 2006. I think one of the tallest building at that time. So 6th floor actually. So I start renting an office. I hired 2 people. But every assumption I had made from the beginning was totally wrong. After 6 months in that office, I had run out of money. I couldn't pay the employees, couldn't pay the office. And actually, the assumption that every one of them could go and do a project by himself and deliver and we get paid was wrong. A project that was to be 1 month was delivered in 6 months. So whole assumption got wrong. Second issue that I noticed, capacity. But when I was running out of money, went to the banks. They didn't understand the business. ICT software, what are the assets? They couldn't understand. Second, I went to some business people, successful business people, thinking maybe they would invest in the company. No, I don't understand that. What are you really selling? How do you produce it? Not understanding. So. Third issue, not being able to get some money to build that business and grow that business. And thirdly, my own weaknesses in management. Nobody had told me that when you don't start spending money before you really are sure of how you're going to bring in it. Nobody had told me that actually employees need supervision, needs guidance, need a number of things that I thought, I assumed to be right, but weren't right. So myself needed people who understand the business, etc. So this, at that moment, of course, I closed the office. I had to let the employees go. I had to start all over again, right? But I got to realize was that the ICT industry wasn't ready, and I wasn't going to be able to do everything by my own self. I started sharing with some business people. I started actually now looking for some type of a partner who would understand more how you manage a business, etc. And through that process, actually with the number 5 to, we have been always around between 5 and 10. We started getting together and then saying, let's build ICT association, the ICT chamber. We started doing retreats, seeing really what's needed to be done for the ICT industry to exist in Rwanda. That's how we came to found and I came to be part of now things that I look at and see them as great things, and I even wonder how I was able to be part of it, like the ICT chamber, the K-Lab. Today the ICT chamber has been able to not only help ICT companies grow, but export and more credibility within government in their ability to deliver projects and to grow. The K-Lab is really being a channel for investment for young people. and it has generated drive for more people to go towards entrepreneurship. And this was really done with this need to be part of something bigger and reaching something bigger than just my company. But now through that, personally, and through my company has now continued to grow. It grew to more than 15 people. It has seen more than 100 software developers going through the company, learning new skills and being employed at even better places. And today, it became somehow a self-sustained company with other leaders leading it. But I'm lucky that today I had to speak because this weekend we had the ICT Chamber Retreat, which we have every end of year to see what we are going to do now in the next year. And when we assessed what we've achieved last year as a group of 12 people involved towards building and putting in place, again, everything that is needed for the ICT industry to exist, we found out that not only we were able to send more than 50 people to master's degree internship in Japan, but we also helped more businesses through the K-Lab initiative. And you really find out that being involved, getting involved, allows you to achieve more while you're still achieving your own goal. So what I would like to share with business people in this room is really to be more social responsible is don't do the mistake I made in the first place in picturing yourself in 6 months, in 1 year. But picture an impossible future for your business, because that will show you what is not yet done or what is not ready today to get there, and you get involved in making it happen. So that's really getting involved towards building an impossible future for your business helps more social responsibility and be more building things that are bigger than your own self. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Clement. You touched on many points that I actually wanted to ask about in terms of challenges when you start your own business and what lessons you get out of it. So what I would like to do, with your permission of the panel, is to go back a little bit and go back to the topic that was touched on by Mrs. Eggleston, this notion of a global village. Rwanda is becoming more and more known in international fields for a country that's moving forward at a very steady pace. We breaking barriers on so many levels in terms of gender, education, health, whatever you name it, we're on it, and we have a goal and we're reaching that goal. Now the question I have for the whole panel is, how do you view yourself in this global village? Do you still see yourself as part of Rwandan with certain objectives that we need to reach, or are you already projecting yourself on a more international area where you see how your goals align with the goals of this global village or the world in general? Perhaps we can start with Mrs. Eggleston to answer this question. So how do you view yourself in this global village and what you're trying to achieve?
I believe that, you know, I can't have a conversation about injustice or social development or financial entrepreneurship or any of the such if I don't consider that someone on the other part of the world is having the same discussion. It's at best egomaniacal, and at worst selfish. I don't have the last idea. I don't have the best idea. While we're sitting here in this panel right now, in this moment, someone has a new idea. And so my responsibility in this community is to find the connection to that next idea. I think we limit ourselves by thinking that our idea is the best idea, and we become trapped in our own idea. The constant search, which is why I suggested earlier that technology is a tool to connect us with other ideas. There's a connection that's going to go on with or without us. What happens to a woman or a family or someone who looks like me today in Rwanda, I can expect or hope for, desire that will happen for me in America tomorrow. And that's how I live, in connection.
Thank you.
when we were having Smart Rwanda Days a few months ago, there was a keyword that was going around, which was that information is not landlocked. And really, what we have as an opportunity today, I can say that within my industry, but also I think it applies to any other type of business that we would like to do, is that we really have the opportunity to think out of the box. Didier was emphasizing on that. Think out of the box and see, really picture an impossible future where we do things that grow quickly and go beyond Rwanda. And within our industry, that's what we now starting to envision. So what is our vision in 2020? We have 10 companies that are global companies making more than $50 million in revenue that have no boundaries, because the products they are building, the innovations they are creating, can easily respond or solve problems that are that we face in Rwanda, but in the same process, solve problems that are outside in other countries. So really, we do have any border now to share ideas, expand our ideas, and expand them outside Rwanda. And when we say thinking big and imagining an impossible future for our businesses, is really to think that way. Global businesses that have no border, that solve problems that are impossible to solve today. And that's how we really get businesses going broader than our own living room and our own country and our own region.
Thank you, Sandrine. I'm going to pick up from Verna's points. She mentioned that Rwanda needs to get out and see ourselves out. I was thinking, I have this idea for some times back to talk to Professor Shaka. I'm not sure if he's here today, but we have this Gachacha, we have Abunzi, we have registered land using our own means, we have other achievements in the country. Can we create a company as a country that can sell that some of those ideas in the world? Can we go out? I have been receiving visitors every month, and trust me, if I put a fee on them on every hours that I spend with them, I think country will make a money. So if everyone who comes to see us study tour, training, if we could put a fee on that, and let's say an hour of myself will cost I don't know how much, then we put that money into the government coffer. I think that will be something to also share with the world. But I'm also, I think Verna also mentioned very key points. Everyone always think his idea is the greatest idea. So we need to be careful with that also. We need to share experience and not teaching others, so we can share with them what we have done and what we have gone through. But we can always go on the stage and on the world level and prove ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, panelists. I want to take this conversation a little bit further away. We have goals, we have objectives, there are things we want to achieve. And we had this conversation earlier with Mrs. Eggleston. What happens when our interests or our goals are not well understood by the larger community, whether it be our own community or the national or international? Have you ever been in a situation like that, where you had something in mind that you wanted to achieve that you knew was going to benefit your community? And I don't just mean you and your city, like at a larger scale. Have you ever been in a situation where you had something in mind that you knew was going to benefit, but that was not understood at all by other people? How did you manage to get your point across and have people align with your interests? And this is open to all three panelists.
I have that situation every day of my life. No one honors all of the credentials I have. I have credentials abound. Degrees, experience, and I still find that when I enter certain rooms, that people want me to prove myself because they have ideas and notions about who I am. And the choices that I have is to become the idea or notion that they have about me. African-American woman, grew up in a certain community, ancestors this and that. And what I find is that the worst absolute form of any type of bigotry is low expectation. So if folks have a low expectation of me, and I embrace those low expectations, and I begin to grow a self-fulfilling prophecy of this is all I can be, because you told me this is all I can be, and I waste my time sitting there trying to prove to them that I'm more than what they describe me to be, then I've lost all mission from point one. I've given up all my power and authority. I've given up all my wisdom and my knowledge. I've given myself over to someone else to be responsible for me, and there's absolutely nothing I can do beyond that. So the key to that is identifying other people who are like thinkers, who can organize and strategize with you, continue with plan, identify someone who likes sitting and giving those who have low expectations of themselves therapy, the job of giving them therapy while you keep doing what you have to do.
Thank you. I think my understanding sometimes when people don't understand what you want to achieve, there is a say in French, rien n'est impossible. Il suffit de diviser l'impossible en de petits possibles. Nothing is impossible. What you need to do is to divide the impossible into small possibles. Then you achieve it.
That's right.
So if some people don't understand you, maybe your approach is, you need to change a little bit on it. You need to try to see how you connect with them. But sometimes also, if the case is the level of the understanding is because of their perception about you, you need to put them into a weak position. And putting them into a weak position, you need to be well informed which are their weak positions and attack them from there, if that is the case. But if you have people you're working with, it's good to make things simpler. Also, you need always to invest in yourself. And investing in yourself is through reading and self-learning. And that's what I can say here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry.
So it's actually something I haven't mentioned is in the past 2 weeks I've assuming a new role as CEO of Rwanda Online, which is a company that is tasked with a challenging mission to digitize all government to citizen services. And it's with all I've been doing, it's the first time really I'm given the responsibility to lead and drive something as challenging as that. And it's the first time that I was in that situation of trying to convince people that we need to achieve something that maybe isn't as easy to believe in as that. But at the same time, I'm a consensus person. Even if we drive, like Didier say, we put it into smaller achievables, I want to really drive or get people to believe in what I'm saying and have them on board. So one of my strategies, again, I want to quote Didier, is his 3 Fs, you know, when you present facts, figures, and what was the last one, Didier? And focus, and you really, through presenting those 3 Fs, you get to convince people that it's feasible because you can show figures, focus, and facts. Yeah, so I think it's the best approach. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Since you were the last one to speak, Clement, I'm now going to pick on you a little bit as the entrepreneur on the panel. if you were to share with the room here today the main 3 myths people have about entrepreneurs, what are those? Les 3 grands mythes à propos du domaine de l'entrepreneuriat.
There is one that I'm really sure of, which is that entrepreneurs, they can do whatever they want. They have no boss, right? That's completely wrong. The entrepreneur's boss are his clients. The entrepreneur's boss are his staff that he needs to, convince to stay there all the time. The market, the competitors become your boss. So as an entrepreneur, you have way more people driving or, having a power on you than actually just being an employee where you have your boss and he gives you guidance, you do what he gives you as guidance. He doesn't give you guidance, you stay idle, So really, that's the biggest myth that they have, that I would say, on entrepreneurs. And I think it's the biggest. I don't see other 2 myths I would share today.
What about the rest of the panels? Any other myths that you've heard about entrepreneurs when you begin your own business?
I'm not an entrepreneur. I was speaking in terms of public servant, but there is something which most of us public servant we have. You go to work at 7 and finish at 5. You get a salary at the end of the month, full stop. But there's also something which is everyone is trying to close themselves into his comfort zone, his or her comfort zone. But let me tell you something which I think it's of importance for public servant. We are there for the people. So open door policy is important. Open door policy is when you don't put your door, you lock yourself, you have secretary behind and who will say, no, this person, if you visit my office, there is no door. And we have some of people I work with, so you can come in at any time, but also you need also to know how to put some barriers so that you can find time to work, because sometimes it's also challenging. So opening is important, and try also to know, respect everyone, including the one doing the cleaning. If you are passing the cleaner, say hi, what will cost you? And she or he will find himself valued by understanding that you care, and share with them also sometimes if they have problems, and share with them those problems and try to find solutions. And I think it's not only with civil servant, it can be applied to entrepreneurs, and I think that's what I can say as a contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Again, thank you to all 3 panelists for sharing all your opinions and thoughts and experiences on what works and what doesn't work in this field. Now, the question I have is, we touched a bit on the past, the present, but let's look at the future. In your respective fields where you are today, what legacy would you like to leave? When you think of maybe 5, 10, 15 years from now, how would you like to be remembered? For example, Clement as an ICT genius. What legacy do you want to leave behind for the people who follow you? Just like we following on the legacy of people who were here before us. There's a saying that says, we're standing on the shoulder of giants. If we are to continue the legacy and make it something that people will remember for a long time, what are we contributing to it today? So in the future, other people will also look at us as some people who have left something sustainable and tangible that we can still see. And this is open to all 3 panelists.
So, like in 20 years, I would like to really see Rwanda as an ICT hub, but that truly means, the center of the region where ICT ideas are born, where we have innovations as big as M-Pesa, where we have businesses that employ hundreds and hundreds of software developers, highly skilled ICT people, and And if that happens, I really will be, I'll enjoy a lot of joy if I can say I had some, some participation in that. I put my stone on that whole big things, and I was involved in making that happen. Yeah.
Didier?
Thank you. That's a very complicated question to me. Actually, I haven't thought about me until I was asked to come to this panel. So I'm always doing my job, and I didn't know that what I have been doing can be shared with others. So I had to think about all of it during the last 2 days. So it's good always to have a vision, and what I want to do is just to contribute to our country vision. So I'll leave the legacy to the future. So those in 40, 50 years will talk about it. I won't talk about it today. Thank you.
You, Mrs. Eggleston?
15 years from now, I'll be 74. So I hope that everything I touch, every work or piece of work that I've done, that I've left it in a better or a more advanced place than when I found it. I hope to be one of the lights in the 1,000 hills. And I think most importantly, I hope that people will remember me for all that I've done in every experience. But more importantly, I hope I'm not saying the same thing then that I'm saying now. I hope that everything that I'm saying now will be totally irrelevant, and there'll be all new experiences and far more advancements before anything I've ever done.
Thank you very much. Now that I'm done with my sets of questions, I'd like to open the floor to the audience. I'm sure you're boiling with ideas, contribution, questions. So I'm not exactly sure how, if somebody has the microphone, or if you have ushers who can help us. There's one person in the back over there, and is there anybody else who can help us? Okay. So what we'll do is we'll take maybe 3 or 4 questions at once, have the panel answer, and then take another set of 3 or 4 questions. Don't be shy. Any questions perhaps you've had at the lunch table? I remember each one of you had a little piece of paper with specific questions. Perhaps you would like to share those questions and see how the panel would like to answer those, if those of you remember the questions you had. I know I remember the questions, so. All right, there's one question over there. And please, before you ask your question, if you can just tell us your name.
Thank you very much. My name is Ishimiro Malis, and I'm a student in Kigali Independent University. I have a question to ask to Mr. Clement. He said that when he was still a student, he had the business idea. He was picturing himself as a businessman with employees and whatever he said. Now I'm wondering, you say that after graduating, that's when you started your business, you make it to reality. So how did what steps did you take to make this into reality? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Karasira Jean-Pierre. I am a student from University of Rwanda, College of Education. I am glad to share with you this in this forum. Just what I want to talk about, it's all about achieving great things. Here there is a story. Sorry, you are going to excuse me. There is someone who asked Socrates, and asked him, Socrates, may you tell me how I can achieve success? So Socrates told the man, please, if you want to achieve success, I want to meet you somewhere to the river. The man came with Socrates, so they went to the river. Arriving there, Socrates entered in the river, and he sank the man in the river so that he cannot breathe. At the end, the man tried to raise his head, but unfortunately, Socrates was strong enough to push him down. So finally, Socrates told the man, leave the man and wake up from the river. Then Socrates asked the man, what did you want at the first time? The man said, you know, sir, I wanted air. I wanted to breathe. Then Socrates told the man, if you want to achieve success, you need to have what they call burning desire. Burning desire, it is the idea of saying that if you want to achieve something, you ever think about it. Whenever you sit there, you think about it. There is what they call desire and wishes. They are totally different. So if you want to achieve something, don't wish, but have desire to achieve it. What I want you to share with you is that sometimes we wish, but we don't desire to achieve something. One of the panelists said that we don't read Rwandans. If you want to hide something from Rwandans, you write it to the report. But what I want us is just to change our mindset so that next time they will come and say that when you want to hide something from Rwandan, you don't write it in the report. Thank you.
We have a few questions on this side, and I just want to specify that you can ask the question in any language you're comfortable in. We'll translate for the panel if needs be.
Murakoze. Ni contribution ntoya cyane nshaka gutanga ku bijyanye n'ibyo twavuze haruguru tuvuga.
Sorry, nagomba tubwiye amazina yanyu.
Sorry, nitwa Karekezi Parfait. I'm a GIS professional in the Department of Land and Mapping in Rwanda Natural Resource Authority. Ikintu nanjye kuvugaho gusa it's a small contribution kuko mu Rwanda nyinshi dukunda kugeraho kandi twebwe ubwacu abanyarwanda twitanzemo kandi dushobora gutanga inama ku mahanga ku buryo ashobora gukora nk'uko twakoze nabo bakabasha kwachivinga ibibazo bafite. Mu Rwanda numva ikiza twakora twafata umwanya mu byo dukora byose muri gahunda zose dukora tukaba tugira umwanya wo guha agaciro kitwa publications, gupublishinga ibyo dukora either online, twakora books tukazishyira ahagaragara ku buryo ahantu hose wajya online, wajya bintu byose twabona ku buryo wapfa kubona documentation zisobanura neza uko gahunda ikintu cyageze ku buryo no hanze babyifashisha bakabisoma bakabona experience yacu ku buryo babasha no kujya badutumira kenshi cyane tukaza kubahereza gusharinga experience twagize n'uburyo twavuye mu kibazo cyacu twakikemurira ubwacu. Murakoze.
Perhaps we can take one more question. There's some people here in the middle with their hands raised.
Hello, my name is Casey Renamo. I'm a local businessman, I'm originally from Zimbabwe. I've been in Rwanda for 3 years now, but I'd like to comment and just tell everyone, all the Rwandan youths, that they're actually very lucky because the way the Rwanda government works, it gives people access to information, which I've worked in so many different South African countries, started businesses there, but Rwanda makes it so conducive for anyone to work in here. And I just want to tell Rwandan youth, you are so lucky because Rwanda is giving you so much. And I wish we could bring what Rwanda does to my country, and I think would be far, far, far away from what we are right now. Thank you very much, Rwanda.
Thank you.
Thank you
Let's
so
take
much.
one last question and then the panel will answer. Ego, mutubwire.
Thank you so much. My name is Peter Munyaneza. Navuye Nyagatare. Ndi umunyeshuri ndangije secondary school mwaka ushize. Nanjye ndi umwe mu bafashwaga n'ikigega cya farije, ariko sinabonye amanota yo gukomeza, nagejeje 23. Gusa ikintu kinshimishije cyane kandi nshaka n'ikibazo mfite nshaka kubaza, tugendeye kuri ideas z'abakuru bacu bari hariya, nashakaga kubaza, nabuze ko nkomeza amashuri university, natsinzwe kubera ko nari umuswa, nize IT, niyo yumvamo cyane, nkora akazi ka member 50,000 buri kwezi bijyanye na IT, ariko bifasha kwishyurira icumbi mbamo, nditunze, mba muri uyu mujyi wa Kigali wacu ni Nyagatare, umurenge wa Rwemasha. So ngendeye ku bitekerezo byanyu, ibitekerezo byiza biturutse kuri bari abantu babiri bari imbere b'abagabo, mu buryo bwo gukunda igihugu, mu buryo bwo kwikunda, gukunda bagenzi bacu, tugafatanya nk'abanyarwanda twiteza imbere, twihesha agaciro, tugafata bike tukabigira byinshi. Nkaba shimira cyane kubw'amahirwe nagize kuba ndahangaha, kubw'amahirwe nagize kumva ibitekerezo byiza, kumva abantu nongera kumva bavuga ibintu byiza bituma ejo cyangwa ejo bundi nzaba umuntu nanjye wicara nk'ahariya cyangwa se n'aharenze, ngatanga ibitekerezo byubaka abantu bose mu buzima busanzwe. Murakoze.
Thank you for the questions. Perhaps we can have the panel respond. We'll begin with the very first one that was addressed to you, Clement. What were the steps to make a business into reality, like concrete steps?
So the steps towards creating the business. Well, maybe I can still tell how the drive to really being an entrepreneur, when it started. It's way years ago when I was very young. I had this uncle of mine who had the nice cars, nice house, and I really thought I will want to become like him, and my parents would tell me he's an entrepreneur. So I grew up way since I was 6. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, I think. That said, when I wanted to go study, I actually went to an economist and told him I wanted to do economy so that I can create my own business when I finish school. And he says, no, but you can't create a business when you are an economist. It's too theoretical. It won't serve you anything. Why don't you go study a skill and then you become a businessman selling it? That's how I chose rather to do IT instead of economy or business administration. So when I was finishing my IT study, I was already really looking at ideas to create a business. So first I did a business model or business plan that I thought would work here in Rwanda, which was to sell software, but based on open source software, so it was more affordable for Rwandans. And I thought it was a business model that was viable. And when I thought it was viable, I just went through the steps of starting a business. But really my drive, my burning desire, as Stephen just reminded us or gave us a nice lesson from Socrates, my burning desire has always been to be an entrepreneur. And against all odds. Like, I love really to do things that sounds infeasible or difficult, things that are challenging. I love to take on challenges, and I thought I would take on this challenge, and I hate failing, and I thought I would do whatever it takes for me to succeed. So, yeah.
Didier, would you like to add to that?
I just want to comment on Karasira story of Socrates. I think that's something I'm taking as a lesson too. So, and what I'm getting from that is everyone in this room can be a panelist, because everyone in this room has something to offer. So we need to capitalize on opportunities and be able to prove ourselves where we are. So I think that's touching from him, but also something that was said by Parfait Karekezi about publishing what we are doing. I think people have started doing so, and if we go with our leaders, especially in institutions, they have started writing. But if we could give ourselves at least a challenge of writing a 10-page publication every year, 10-page only, I think that's something we can build on creating a publication that can help people to read and get used to read. So I want to share a personal experience which I didn't mention in my presentation to Peter. In 1994, after genocide, I had to go and work as umuzamu. I was a guardian, and I was promoted to become a jardinier. How do you call it in French, in English? Gardener. So I was promoted to be a gardener. So I was putting some money aside to go back to school. That time there was no farge. So you are lucky to have this farge. So you need to sit and you need to again think beyond what you have gone through. Think beyond the normal things. The normal things are you get to school, you study secondary school, you finish, you get a burse, you go to university, you finish university, you be an entrepreneur. That's the normal things. But you need to think what can you do out of that if you don't have any of those. So you have finished your secondary school. I'm glad Clement is here, and I'm going to ask him to take you as an internee so that you build on your ICT skills. Then you can take it from there. Thank you very much.
I'd just like to touch on the question by Parfait, on the importance of publishing what has been achieved in the country so other people can benefit from it. Perhaps Clément can say a few words on a project that you worked on in ICT that was destined to share the knowledge about what has been going on in Rwanda in the past 20 years or so.
So, you mean Rwandapedia? So Rwandapedia is was a project of the Office of the Government spokesperson, and our company Axis was given the opportunity to work on it on the technical side, of course, but just the technical being the channel of that information. The real value of that Rwandapedia site is to share what we've, our innovative ways that led us to achieve so many things in the past 20 years. And I was fortunate to work on that project as project manager and actually to learn how some of the projects got inspired, like Girinka Gacaca. Really, we understand the name, we hear about it, but really looking even at the people who wrote the concept paper, who got involved in every step to getting this thing was really something I enjoyed learning and reading about, and that I personally use within the work I'm doing today. Really, how can we inspire or get inspiration from our culture, from our past, to build. Again, I like to insist on impossible future, to build things that we even ourselves don't think about today, but using our future, our past, and our cultural innovation to use that kind of inspiration to do things that are way beyond what we think of today.
Thank you very much. If I can extend this question to you, Mrs. Eggleston, perhaps you can share with us how you became involved in Rwanda, creating programs that aims to bring sustainable livelihoods to women in particular. How did you hear, how did those projects became applied here, and how would you want them to be known throughout the continent or other places around the world, just so we can get in touch with what this question was about, making sure our contribution can be shared with more people than just the ones around here.
I was introduced to Rwanda in 2007 by a woman who was deeply involved with the gender ministry here. And she was working on women issues and developing women and developing women's economic skills. And the gentleman who I currently work for, Michael Bloomberg, interestingly enough, in all the countries that we had reviewed and evaluated and looked at places, because my job primarily is to identify initiatives in Africa that we can invest in. And when people hear the word investment, investment doesn't normally, in thinking, have an association with social development. People usually think investment means business, profit. And so we rarely look at investment in government or investment in government plans or investment. We don't use those words. So I was totally fascinated when I arrived in Rwanda. And so I kind of feel very fortunate that I've watched the evolution of Rwanda from 2007 to current day. And the thing that's most impactful for me is the 2020 vision of the government. The fact that all efforts that are carried out in Rwanda are comprehensive efforts, even on the grassroots, even on the NGO level, anybody who has an interest to do something. The country's mission is very prevalent, very relevant, core and center. That says a lot about a government. That says an incredible amount about a government. And the thing that keeps me engaged in Rwanda is the fact that it has the entrepreneurial spirit, not the notions and the myths like most government bureaucrats, things can't get done, things sit in the same place. You can come to Rwanda today, and tomorrow when you return, something will be different. That is amazing. The speed to which Rwanda moves, and not just warp speed where there's just a product that's a bad product, but speed that results in more efficiency, more precision, and I think the world can learn from Rwanda. I think there's something at every corner of Rwanda for another portion of the world to learn. I think reconciliation, oh my goodness, can my country take Reconciliation 101 from Rwanda? Because if you believe for 1 minute that we're so advanced in our reconciliations, you are believing the biggest myth. We can learn from your reconciliations. We can learn from your efficiencies. We can learn from a comprehensive plan that the government lays out, and it's all inclusive. Having spent a large proportion of my life in government, there are two key variables that stand out for me in Rwanda. The fact that government employees in Rwanda have such deep engagement that the measurement of your success is included in the evaluation of the government officials. So the government officials are not randomly working at their own end without including in their personal individualized evaluations how they're moving the country to the conclusion of the 2020 plan. That to me just doesn't happen. That's magic. That's magic. Or brilliance or efficiency. You can name it whatever you want. And the last thing is most people don't think about government in an entrepreneurial way. They don't see citizens as being a profit. They look at citizens as a deficit. So government approach normally in other environments, not like here, is that we have this problem, we have to put all this money in the problem, and we're going to keep spending money on the problem, and hopefully the problem will go away on its own. That is so not true of Rwanda. There's an investment made in Rwanda's people with an expected outcome, which will mean success. That's business. The profit margin that's being expected by the leadership of this country is that this group sitting here is going to be greater, move further, and do better than many who came before. That's a business approach. That's a business model. And so recording it is good. Documenting it is good, but this is where the technology comes in at, and this is where the innovation of Rwanda works best. Make that documentation real-time, live, livable, keep moving so that it's accessible for all can make a contribution, and it spreads far and wide. And I thank you for letting me have the opportunity to say whatever I said today, and I hope it's helpful, but I get more from this than you, trust me.
Thank you very much. Perhaps we could take a few more questions. I believe we have a few minutes left for this panel. Okay, there's one hand raised here and a couple more in the middle. And once again, if you can start by saying your name and profession and then your question. Thank you. And in any language that you would like.
Mwakoze, mwiriwe, nitwa Antoinette wa Maria, naje nturuka muri Rwanda. Ndahera kuri topic twavuzeho igihe twari turi kuri lunch, yabazaga ngo do we need more demand from our society, or we are getting what we deserve? Igisubizo cyari yes, we need more. We are not getting all that we deserve. Ikibazo mfite cyangwa ni it's a recommendation I'm asking. Mu kazi nkora duhugura urubyiruko buri munsi, tubana n'urubyiruko turuhugura kwihangira imirimo no gukoresha ICT. Akenshi bakunda kuvuga ngo dufite ideas ariko nta capital dufite. So ndagaruka kuri Clement mubaza, ajya gutangira we yari afite idea birumvikana, ariko how did he start? Yari afite iki? Ikindi nsaba, hari motivation mwaduha nkatwe b'urubyiruko cyangwa abandi bashaka gutangiza business, cyangwa inspiration. Murakoze.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Umutoni. I am a tutorial assistant at the University of Rwanda, College of Medicine and Health Sciences. And at the same time, I have started a non-profit here. And before talking to it, I want to explain this, that my intervention will touch on two things. The question that was put to my fellow Rwandans, Didier and Clement, leaving a legacy. How do you leave a legacy? Second is the question that was put to all of us about owing something the past generation. Here is my thinking. I believe that we all agree that our First Lady was very okay about being remembered for having been the First Lady of Rwanda. That is good enough. However, she thought she could do more. She chose to found the Imbuto Foundation. And I am very much convinced but she's going to be much more remembered about Imbuto Foundation than being the first lady of a country. So here is my question. What are the beneficiaries of Imbuto Foundation going to be remembered for? That's a question that I would very much like to put to each and every person who benefited from any charity, non-profit, parents, organization, individuals, or any random acts of kindness. So I am offering a solution or an answer to Clement, to Didier, and to many other people who, beyond benefiting from all that help, were able to turn it into a success. And my challenge to you is, I think that's not the end of the road. And the end of the road for me would be giving back. And as you were talking to us, I would expect you to mention a few acts of gratitude, acts of kindness, giving back initiatives you've been investing in, following the example of our mom, the First Lady. On my side, I, like Jackson, like many young people in the room, benefited from the help of organizations like Imbuto Foundation. The one I want to mention is Generation Rwanda, without forgetting Farge and many others who helped me. But Generation Rwanda made it possible for me to feel like I can stand here and talk. And after graduating from their support, I thought of doing something. I, Jackson, and many friends of ours started an organization called Acts of Gratitude. Ibikorwa by'ishimwe. The organization talks to each and every Rwandan who feels grateful for everything that is happening, everything positive that is happening in our country, and set off to give back, to start giving back. From 2011, we paid school fees for 11 students in high school. We visited thousands of patients in hospitals. We collected beyond 10,000 clothes for needy people. And we offered few loans to vulnerable entrepreneurs. And today, we have opened an office in Kigali with 2 employees. And all that is being done by close to 195 young Rwandans who feel like they can do something small and expect it to grow over time. Now, my offer to all of you who feel like you've used the opportunity given well and have got something to give back is to join us. I start with Clement. Yes, businessmen say non-profits are not ready to defend or to justify what they donate to them. Ours is ready. We spent 3 years knocking on no door, for we wanted to be ready enough and start challenging you businessmen, challenging you successful people. Clement, I'll come to your door next week if you allow, and see if you can embark on the journey with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's take 2 more questions and have the panel answer before we wrap it up.
Rakoze kunyemerera gutambutsa igitekerezo cyanyu mu Kinyarwanda. Nitwa Nshimyumuremyi Sefase, nkaba ndi umwarimu kandi bikaba byaranteye kuba rwiyemezamirimo. Mfite uruganda ruciriritse rutunganya cosmetic product mu bimera byo mu Rwanda biboneka mu karere ka Musanze. Mfite ubushobozi bwo kwica udukoko dutera indwara z'uruhu, bityo tukagira uburanga bwacu. Muranyemerera ibyo ngiye kuvuga birajyana n'ikintu dufite mu iyi minsi kijyanye n'uko 80% by'imishinga y'urubyiruko irimo gupfa itari yarangiza n'umwaka. Nanjye rero kuba nagize amahirwe yo guhura n'aba ba rwiyemezamirimo beza kandi bakiri bato, numvishije nagira uruhare mu gutanga igitekerezo ku bintu bitatu bishobora kudufasha kugira ngo ya mishinga yapfaga ubwo Clement yitangiraga 2006, ko nabwo buriya hari abandi bari batangiranye ariko nawe ikagenda ipfa nk'uko ubu ngubu ipfa, byibura ubu ngubu tuyigabanya. Ibyo bintu bitatu rongeye kuvugaho, icya mbere ni ikijyanye no kuba turi hano nk'uko nguko turimo gusharinga experience na Clement. Ntabwo twagakwiye kuba hari imishinga igipfa kandi hari abantu bakoze imishinga agahura n'ibibazo nk'ibyo duhura nabyo uyu munsi. Byagakwiye kudufasha tukabikuramo isomo kugira ngo natwe imishinga yacu ye gupfa. Sinzi impamvu wenda niba tutategura tukihuriza hamwe nk'aba young innovators, tukaba tugira ihuriro atari nk'uko wenda twaje mu gikorwa twatumiweho n'Imbuto Foundation, tugahura tukaganira ku bibazo bituma imishinga yacu ipfa buri munsi kandi bayabaye myiza. Kuko birababaje kuba umushinga wawe wa mbere cyangwa wa kabiri cyangwa gatatu mu gihugu ariko kumva ngo ejo wafunze ntugikora. Ubwo nibwo buryo bwa mbere dushobora kujya duhura tukarebera hamwe icyadutiza imbaraga tugikuye mu bwonko bwacu, tukigiye ku birenge byo batubanjirije, ubu ngubu hakaba hari aho bageze. Icya kabiri ndaza kuvugaho ni ikintu tutavugaho rumwe, nta murongo ugaragara uha urubyiruko amahirwe rugitangira imirimo yo kuzamuka. Usanga abenshi iyo urubyiruko rugitangira imishinga ruba rusanze aba competitors bakora nk'ibyo ruba rugiye gukora ndetse bafite n'ingufu. Ugasanga kenshi ba bandi bafite ingufu ugiye gukora ibisa n'ibyawe wenda ushyizemo innovation nkeya, batumye ibyo bitazamuka. Bityo kuba nta murongo wenda uba uriho wo guhereza ba rwiyemezamirimo, tuvuge niba ari rwiyemezamirimo utangiye uruganda akaba agomba wenda kubona ibyangombwa kandi uruganda rwamubanjije gukora nk'ibyo akora rubifite, hari igihe biba imbogamizi kugira ngo weho ugere ku ibyo byangombwa, kuko n'umukeba nawe abashaka ko usikigingira utari wazamuka. Aho birasaba ko ari ikintu wenda twagakwenda nacyo kurebera hamwe, hakabaho umurongo wafasha urubyiruko kugira ngo niba umushinga uzamutse ukurikiranwe umwaka ushire ugenda uzamuka. Ikindi cya gatatu navuga nk'igitekerezo, twicaye hano turi ba rwiyemezamirimo, niba rwiyemezamirimo avutse agakora product, ni twebwe tugomba kwiha agaciro, gukunda ibikorerwa iwacu. Usanga kenshi dukora byiza n'abanyamahanga bakabikunda bakaza no kubyigiraho, ariko twebwe tubikora ntitubiha agaciro karenze. Tubanze dukunde iby'iwacu biba byakozwe. Niba havutse uruganda rw'amavuta akozwe mu bimera kandi tugasanga ni meza, tuyakunze twazagera no kuri ya ntego yo kuvuga ngo twongere ibyo dukorera iwacu tunabisohore hanze. Ariko niba amavuta aje akozwe mu bimera by'iwacu mu Rwanda tugakomeza twisiga wenda amavuta y'15,000, aho ngaho ni handi wa mushinga uvutse ushobora kuzapfa, kuko twagakwiye guha ireme produit zikorerwa iwacu. Bityo bigatuma ya mishinga yapfaga itongera gupfa ahubwo izamuka. Ibitekerezo byanjye bitatu byari ibyo, duhurire hamwe twihujije turebe ibituma imishinga yacu ipfa ndetse bitume twanareba ibyatuma ikomeza, tubyigiye ku batubanjije kandi bafite aho bageze. Icya kabiri ari nacyo nsorejeho ni ukureba ibyo twaha agaciro, twabihaga agaciro ibyo dukora ariko tukongera tunabikundisha abanyamahanga. Ntabwo tuzabikundisha abanyamahanga tubwacu tutari twabikunda. Numva rero ari byo bitekerezo byanjye kandi nzi ko tuzabigera. Murakoze.
Ushers, there are a few hands raised in the back on the right-hand side.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's okay? Okay. All right, so ushers, after this person, then we'll give the microphone to Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, the panelists, the First Lady for being around here. It has always been my dream to see her. And Yeah, to see the First Lady in a gathering like this. My name is Muranga Enoch, and I work for Cornerstone Development Africa, which is a non-profit in all the 5 countries in East Africa. And the focus for Cornerstone Development Africa is youth leadership development. But particularly today, I'm here from LPN, that is Africa Leaders Professionals Network. And I'm really passionate about development because I did development studies at my bachelor's level. And I follow the Mike Bloomberg philanthropies because I like reading a lot, and most especially with the development. I am obsessed with development. As far as Rwanda is concerned, I came back to Rwanda fully in 2013 after graduating in my bachelor's degree, majorly because I felt I needed to be in Rwanda. And when you look at the records of Rwanda, 67% of the country's population is under 25 years. When you look at the age bracket of 25 to 54, we are 32.5%. Then when you look at 55 to 64, that is, the composition is 4%. That calls for something that is tremendous, that the young people need to contribute to the development of Rwanda. But when you look again at the strides that Rwanda has made as a nation in its development trajectory, you realize that Rwanda continues to lose 29.4 of its human development resources. That is according to the Human Development Index report of 2013, which is a worry. Though Rwanda continues to really make great strides in development. When you look at 72% of the girls in school and 73% of the boys in school, and 64% of the women being the major, like making up the lower chamber of the parliament. And we can't neglect the great progress of Rwanda in achieving the MDGs. And I think it is even better positioned as the Sustainable Development Goals come into play in 2015. So, that is where I want to really zero down and begin and originate my question, most especially to the lady from the Michael Bloomberg. I become so focused on sustainability because we could achieve many things in the short term, but always my worry is how can we sustain what we have achieved in a short term to continue to really scale up the achievements even in the long term. So when she speaks, you understand, you get to realize that she has done a lot of research. She's really informed and experienced. And I would like to ask, from her experience with Rwanda, what could be the best way Rwanda can sustain the achievements it has made as a nation since when you look at 1994, which is really a year that put us again back to nothing, and we started to rise with the much efforts of our leaders that are focused at development, at equitable development for every Rwandan. I would really ask, what could be the best way that Rwanda can continue to sustain what it has achieved? Thank you very much.
You may go ahead, Honorable Minister.
Thank you. Let me use one of the privileges of being the minister, which is you go first even if you raise the hand after. I'd like to make two comments with regard to two questions.
you forgive me, I didn't retain the names, but one lady who works with Rwanda asked about, young people come up with ideas, but they have no capital, and they sort of get stuck or paralyzed. And she wanted an inspiration. How do you, break that lock and fly like successful entrepreneurs? Well, this is, I would say, the number one question that sometimes makes me spend sleepless nights. But at the same time, I realize it's a question of mindsets. Because evidence, I like the last speaker, he gave a lot of numbers. He actually disproved the point. Rwandans do read. He had all these statistics on top of his mind. So you keep wondering how you solve this problem, and you look around. Who are the successful entrepreneurs? How did they start? What it took for them to become successful? So I will just borrow the leaf from Clement, who said that it's all about resilience. So you just graduated, you've got an idea, you want to transform it into something concrete, but you get stuck because you don't have resources. But what else do you have except the idea? Because everyone here has many ideas. An idea is not enough. What else do you have? I remember on the 15th August of this month, we brought a speaker, Rick Warren. Some of you were here. There was only one question. The question was, what do you have in your hands? Not in your mind. What do you have in your hands? That's the one question that God asked to Moses. When God went to Egypt to liberate his people from oppression, he asked him, what do you have in your hands? Because whatever you can achieve, it will start from what you have in your hands. So ask that young man or young woman, what do you have in your hand? Could be a phone, could be a piece of land that his or her parents have, or guardians. It could be a network of friends. It could be anything. You have to be able to start from what you have in your hands. And then you apply Clement's lesson, which is resilience. Whatever you have as an idea, there is nothing on which you cannot start from scratch, even below scratch. This country was taken below zero. It was taken from nothingness, from ashes, and transformed into a country. There was no World Bank loan. Sacrifice. People gave everything they had. So what do you have in your hands, young people? And let's work together. Bring what you have. If it's not enough, look around. Someone else has something similar or something complementary. Put them together, and then you will make sense out of it. And it connects to the question of my other colleague, my other friend from Musanze, who said that na murongo uriho gufasha enterprises ziri kuvuka niyo mpamvu 80% zipfa before 1 year. I'm the one who gave that statistic. But I'm not the one who did the research. But I believe and I concur with the statistic. Because most of those companies actually are briefcase companies. They are companies which only exist on the paper, in business plans. Those are the ones that have been submitted to Angumurimo. But I believe umurongo urahari ahubwo maybe young people, certain young people don't know. We summarize it in 6 letters. And those 6 letters form one word, which is Oscars. So opportunity. Are you aware? Can you feel the opportunities that are around you? Yes or no? Because opportunities are created by a growing economy. They are created by the fact that next week electricity gets delivered in your sector. They are created by the access to skills and knowledge that TVET school has been built within a reach of maybe 5 kilometers from your homestead. Opportunities are created because roads are being done, because security is there. Opportunities are created because we are broadening the market, because maybe your home is near the border and it's a East African community, you can trade across borders. Opportunities are everywhere. Opportunities are in the agriculture sector, they are in the service sector for those who have had some skills. They are everywhere. So can you feel the opportunities around you? Second, skills. It's important. If you could just build skills and leave people, I think they can even fend off for themselves. You know what happened in the story of a neighboring country which umuyobozi yavuze ngo article Kens. That was umurongo. Not even opportunity, no skills. Then creativity. You know, rewarding, detecting, promoting, identifying, and eroding talent. This man, for those who don't know him, he scooped 3 million. I have a picture with him holding a check. 3 million because his business was identified far in Musanze. We promoted his product and we gave him some money. That umurongo exists. Another 90. Ndabesha? Eh? It is true. Umurongo rahari. 90 young people are arriving this afternoon who've been selected from the country. They are arriving this afternoon here from every sector of this country. Kugira ngo umuntu agenda abona nk'abo ngabo nkawe abandi 90 they will go through an intensive training of 3 days. They will participate in umushyikirano, and again the best will be rewarded. So, attitude. I'm going through the Oscar. You know, attitude, I think, is the most important thing. One minute story. I was in Doha last week. One of the talks that I participated in is somebody who's a futurist. He spends time learning about what's going to happen in the future as opposed to historians. Now, the guy told us that it took 20 years, 20 years ago, for the most successful companies to build a $20 billion company. Building a $20 billion company, it took the most successful ever recorded in history, at least 20 years. Now it takes a year to 2 for entrepreneurs today to build a $20 billion company. Thanks to technology, thanks to everything. That is called exponential companies. The biggest cab company in this world doesn't own one cab. Even the owner doesn't own a car. Still, it is the biggest cab company in the world. It's called Uber. You can Google it. The biggest hotel company in the world doesn't have any hotel room, doesn't own any hotel room. Yet, every night, 400 million are clients to that hotel. It's called Airbnb. Google it. So it's all about mindset. Because if the mindset is about scarcity, that they are not enough, that I need the resources, then that's the opposite of a mindset of abundance. You are not able to think beyond your village, beyond your community, and your world is just limited to where you are, and you feel stuck. But if you are open in the mind, then you break that lock. So, I finished with the question. Oh, sorry. R is the resources. Then if you know opportunity, you can feel it. You have the skills. You have what it takes to be able to make sense of that opportunity. You have the right attitude. You are creative. You are able to innovate. Then resources will find you ready. I will challenge everyone who can demonstrate the 4 things and who's just stuck on the resources, who's developed an idea that links to an opportunity, who started some action, because attitude also includes action, and who needs more resources. Even Clement can invest in his business, and we can co-invest in that business. Because I also want to make some money. And my hands are tied up in the public sector. But if you have such a project, I can put my savings in your project. Seriously. banks will be looking for you. They will be doing a beauty contest to give you money in front of you. And S is support. Now this forum, being able to bring entrepreneurs together to exchange, this is a permanent platform. It's been there. Whatever we're discussing, even if we are just 500 of us, it is being live broadcast on TV and the radio. People are following. So if you really want to succeed, like the man who told us that when you are under the water you need air, and you are pursuing success like that, you will succeed. For sure. Narangije? But let me pledge something. You did make a request to do something to cut on the mortality of your young enterprises. We will do it. Let me tell you, 15 years ago, this country set out to cut on mortality, infant mortality, and we made it. We beat the MDG target. We set out to cut on maternal mortality, and we beat the target. We are going to set out to reduce entrepreneurship mortality, enterprise mortality. Turahaguruka, izo mfu za companies zitarakura nazo turazigabanya. Yes, we are going to borrow some lessons from our colleagues from the health sector. Maybe you need the equivalent of community health workers to support enterprises. We need health posts. We need a network of dedicated young people like you. We need to network those who have been able to be successful to come and mentor those who are trying. We need to make this forum. You give an idea, start a forum in Musanze and we will join you. Because it's one thing to be here like you said, but if this kind of forum could meet at every Mudugudu at some point in future and we discuss, there are very successful people in every Mudugudu in this country. They can mentor their brothers and sisters and we will support you and we will be with you. Ibisubizo tuzabyishakamo, we will come up with unconventional solutions, and we will address that problem, because that is what is going to take this country beyond this moment. And I'd like to close on this one. I've been reflecting on this topic of beyond this point. And there are many ways of looking at the topic. But I was sharing a panel with Minister Murekezi a few weeks ago during the Service Investment Forum. We talked about this transition from a resource or agriculture-based economy to a service-based economy. And he was saying that he feels something is going to happen. He can feel, but he doesn't know how to describe it. And I could feel the same thing. But when I thought about it, it's like an airplane that has been taxiing and then running on the runway and then reaching maximum speed and then take off. You can feel sometimes the plane is shaking, towards the takeoff. Or just when it has just taken off, it shakes a bit and then takes the speed to higher altitude. I believe that Rwanda is taking off, literally. Ndabibuza with another talk that I participated on 2 days ago in Doha. Someone, as we talked about exponential enterprises, somebody said that change happens slowly and then suddenly. That's the exponential function. Can take like 10 years growing at 8%, but at some point you just take off and you start the double-digit growth. Our target in the EDPRS is to reach 11.5% average growth by 2018. Now, to be able to get there, that takeoff is necessary, to start achieving the double digit. But it's already happening. It has started happening. I can give you just a few examples. Over the last 2 years, the number of people having, financially included moved from 1 million to 5 million within 2 years. I'm just talking about financial inclusion based on technology. Number of people accessing finance in Rwanda through mobile financial services is greater, 3 times bigger than the number of people having actually bank accounts. But all are financial services. And we are among the top 5 countries in Africa like that. I'm looking at a time where the critical mass of Abanyarwanda, the young people who've been educated in the new Rwanda that I talked about, is hitting the job market. They are becoming the majority. They are becoming the new educated consumers in the knowledge economy. That critical mass, we are reaching it. We are reaching a point where Ubunyarwanda, like the pride, agaciro, self-pride, dignity, is deepened. It's, nobody needs, again, kubyigisha. It's part of our DNA. And it's part of our DNA. It's part of the DNA of every Munyarwanda who's getting born today. We are reaching a point where the generation that benefited from the OLPC are starting to hit the job market. Now wait and see. So, building an exponential enterprise, I think our leaders have been building an exponential country. Rwanda is going to become the first country to prove the case that you can build an exponential country. So with those few things, we stand at that very, very nice moment to be part of. It's whatever you do today, it gets multiplied. Whatever took so much effort to do 5 years ago is just going to take a push of a button. That's where we are as the young generation of this country today, and we should be grateful for that, and you shouldn't take it for granted. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I believe we can just take one last question because we're running out of time. And if you could please make your question and your remarks under 2 minutes so we have enough time for the panel to answer and then continue with the rest of the program.
Thank you very much. Moderator, my name is Omar Ndizeye, Program Officer from Navigate Rwanda. First, before I just started, I want everyone here just to thank First Lady particularly and Imbuto to organize this biggest ever forum for the future entrepreneurs of our country, but also professionals as well. By coming here looking the main theme of this gathering, which is beyond this moment, I thought that to go beyond this moment, we need first to think and to commit ourselves to sustain what we have today, and also to commit ourselves to go beyond the step where we are today. And my question goes to the panelists or three panelists. When we were here during the Pan-African conference, I think the moderator asked His Excellency President Paul Kagame, what is the next liberation for Africa? And he mentioned that the next liberation for Africa and Africans is attitude, mindset change. When you observe the youth we have today and then the way we live our life, there is a colleague of mine who said that most of our youth live the Hollywood life. I mean the movie life. So some of them want to behave like Beyonce and the other successful people. Yet before behaving like that, they achieved, they worked hard. They worked hard like Dieudonne Sagashya, and they spent sleepless nights. And when you see some of the youth you have today, who are the clients of most of these businesses? So some people cost them like that. So they cost them to live in the movie life, in the Hollywood life. So my question or if I could ask advice from everyone in the panel, what could be your advice for the youth of Rwanda today? Thank you very much. So that we can reach beyond this moment. But reach beyond this moment, it's not enough. We can reach successfully beyond this moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Omar. We have a few minutes to have...
Hello, my name is Ramay Sibo. I'm a Rwandan blogger and writer. I really am impressed by this theme that we have today, beyond this moment. And what I want to tell you is about a tiny little bone that is the size of a human hand that was found in a place called Ishango in Rutshuru in 1959. Now this bone is the first bone that ever was used as a calculator, that was ever used as a calendar, as a base converter, and it was found in Rutshuru here in 1959, and it dates back to 22,000 years ago. Can you believe Africans were practicing mathematics 22,000 years ago? That is 12,000 years before anyone else in this world even started doing mathematics. And this bone and this artifact, it changed the whole history of how human beings evolved and how knowledge was evolved and gained and everything. So if there's anything I want my fellow Rwandans and my fellow Africans here to remember, we invented science, we invented technology 22,000 years ago in Rutshuru. Do you know Rutshuru is just here in Rwanda? I consider that as part of Rwanda, even though it is not. But I want us to understand that. And when we talk about our Afro-pessimism, how we believe that we are inferior, that we are not good enough, and our biggest problem is just getting into our heads that we are not learning this for the first time. We are relearning this. This is something that we already knew before, that we forgot. And now the Muzungu is teaching us again. But we already know this. And if there's anything I want us to remember, look beyond this moment, beyond, to know that we started this and we are going to finish this. Right. Thank you very much.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you for these historical facts. I really did not picture the panel ending on this note, but I'm grateful for that. So we just have a few more minutes because they're telling me we're running out of time for the first panel, and I don't want to take too much time over the second and the next presentation. So if we could perhaps begin with you, Mrs. Eggleston. There was one question for you that was asking if you could share a few advice on sustaining the development or the achievements we've made so far. And then I'll ask Didier and Clement to answer the other questions that were for you.
Some incredible questions came from this floor. I mean, my God, amazing. I think that sustainability begins, and I would be I would be the most valuable person on the planet if I could answer your question about sustainability for Rwanda. I think Rwanda will answer its questions and all the answers that, bring all the answers to all the questions that will be put forward to it. I think for my own personal system of belief, sustainability begins with us. I heard words of bringing things to scale. Governments bring things to scale. NGOs come into countries believing that they can enter countries and start taking things to scale. Governments bring things to scale by setting policy, creating openings so that businesses can grow, having plans, setting measurements, and determining goals. And we all add to that as participants of civil society in government. It doesn't say that government has the responsibility to do it itself. Civil society must add on to that plan. When I went, and the plan exists, the work is going on right now in Rwanda from an outsider's point of view. When I visited one of the campuses of the WDA here in Rwanda, I saw one of the most innovative, futuristic, exercises going on. Who knew that you can use laser technology to repair cars? Well, on the WDA campus, I've not even seen this on stateside. They're using all of these high-tech innovations to train young men whose destinies might not necessarily be to go to university, to do all of these things that's mapped out for them, but using all of these technologies to build bigger and better things. I see the minister here from tourism, who's moving around the world everywhere, building a tourism platform for Rwanda. What is your entrepreneurial participation going to be in when millions and millions of tourists cross your borders to come here to see your Rwanda? What is your participation in that as an entrepreneur? What are you going to sell? How are you going to serve them? What are you going to do? Have you have any knowledge or information about all of these hotels that are going to be built in your country? Or are you going to stand by and watch, right? All of the expertise, all of the employees be imported in and your economy being exported out? What's your participation in that? I see the Minister of Gender here, who's going beyond the usual feminist conversations of women's rights, because she has examples of women who take the lead in the parliament here in this country, and she's already off to talking about families and the sustainabilities of families. So I say that to you with the few ministers I can see from this particular perch, and they might all be present. I say to you that when you're looking for sustainability and ideas and motivations and movement, start home first to do an assessment of what you have, then knock on the door of the next door neighbor to borrow. But understand, when you borrow from the next door neighbor, the return might be very high. Does that make sense? The return might be incredibly high. So your country already has a pattern, Rwanda already has a pattern of seeking investments, seeking loans, unlike many others, and paying them back quickly, not to be owing to someone, not to be owing to someone. You have to be fully participatory in the spirit of country, fully participatory in the spirit of plan. There's a goal that's set. What is your placement in that goal? And what have you done individually as a member of civil society to be self-sustaining as it grows? One of the clearest measurements of success, as soon as measurement of success arrives, people want more. I want my piece of that success right away. I don't have to add to success, but I want a piece of it right away. Has Rwanda reached its fullest success, and is there a place for you to add? There's always possibilities. There's always more for you to add. And how many people will come to look, take, borrow? I can tell you right now, you have more information in country through government on your success that many can benefit from. Success in the external world from you is being measured differently than your accomplishments. And I'll go to just something as simple as the UN measurement of poverty. We quote statistics all the time. Well, the UN's measurement of poverty is if you're making less than $1 a day, if the floor in your home is a dirt floor, but this, and this. But when you come to the continent, and you're going to measure my worth and my value, and you're going to enter into my home, and you're going to look and see if I have a dirt floor, and you've concluded that I'm poor, but you've not looked out in my backyard to count the 1,000 cows that are there, which is a different measurement of wealth, then you've measured me unfairly. So what's the opportunity for you? I met your leader of the stock exchange in Washington, D.C. The opportunities for Rwanda is to create new matrix of measurement, because while you're on this modality success, you have a way for us to look at it differently. I can tell you today that Africa is the world's future. Rwanda's future is not in the world. Africa is the world's future. Africa has everything that the world will need going forward. The most land not farmed, the most wealth not realized, the most intelligence. All of the elements that we're going to need to survive live in the continent. So you are the future of the world. How are you going to take your place? How are you going to sustain that? How are you not going to let that be watered down? The young people on the globe, you are the newest entrepreneurs. You are the newest investors. You are going to buy products that you won't even need. So are your products on the market that are going to be bought? You are going to be the largest spenders. You are going to bring new surges into the economy. What are you buying and what are you bringing to that economy so that others can buy? So believe me, for me to sit and talk about sustainability and doing social development of my life, I believe there are certain measurements of success that brings one to sustainability. The man that I work for says if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. Create the matrix of measurement. The matrix, the baseline of goal setting has been set. You have a 2020 vision plan. Your charge is to add to it and go beyond.